Let's be honest for a second. Have you ever done something innocent, only to catch someone giving you a strange look? You know the one. Like they're wondering if you might be a serial killer. Yeah. We've all been there. But don't worry. I'm about to reveal the bad habits that make people think you're creepy. Some of these, trust me, you might not even realize you're doing. From innocent oversharing to staring just a little too long. These habits can turn even the most well-meaning people into creeps. The nicest person in the world. The kind of person everyone secretly avoids. Let's dive in so you can stop being an accidental creep. Hovering in someone's personal space. Alright. Let's start with a classic. Hovering in someone's personal space. You'd think we'd all know about personal space by now. Right. Wrong. Some people treat boundaries like they're optional. Honestly. It's one of the quickest ways to make someone's skin crawl. I mean, I've had people get so close that I could count the freckles on their face. And trust me, nothing says I'm uncomfortable more than someone edging closer and closer. Like we're filming a nature documentary about human contact. Here's the controversial part. Though, some people actually like being that close. They'll argue it's just how I connect with people. While that might sound cute in theory, in reality, you're just becoming the human equivalent of a horror movie jump scare. Once, I was at a party. I got so into a conversation that I didn't realize I'd intruded into someone's personal space. I thought we were having a deep, engaging conversation until they took a step back. Then another. It was like I was guiding them across the room. At that moment, I realized, oh no. I'm that guy. The accidental space invader. Let's be real, nobody likes to feel trapped. People need their personal space. If you're standing so close that they can feel your breath, congratulations, you've just crossed into Creepyville. Population, you. Here's the problem, it's not just about space. It's about respecting someone's personal space. When you hover too close, you're disregarding their unspoken boundaries. Personal space is more than physical, it's emotional. It's about giving people the freedom to feel safe and in control of the interaction. Honestly, that's a life lesson beyond just avoiding being creepy. Respecting someone's personal space is about showing that you care enough to make them comfortable. So, next time you're talking to someone, take a step back. You'll still connect with people, without the fear of them leaving. 2. Remembering too many details. Okay. This one's a bit controversial. On the surface, remembering details sounds like a good thing. Right? You'd think people would be flattered if you recall their dog's name or what they had for lunch last Tuesday. But nope. Too many details. And suddenly, you're that person. The one who it remembers everything like a Google search. Spoiler alert. It scares people. Let's set the scene. You're catching up with someone you haven't seen in months and casually ask, "How's your cat?" Mittens. Still sleeping under your bed at night. They just look at you like, "How do you know that?" Now they're mentally scrolling through their list of stalkers, wondering how you have this classified information. Here's where it gets funny. I've been that person. I was at a party. 2 months later, I asked someone there about their project on sustainable agriculture. They looked at me like I had just read their diary. I hadn't taken notes. I just remembered. That made them uncomfortable. Why do we act like it's creepy to remember things about people? Isn't listening a good thing? Society is so obsessed with being distracted, paying attention means that when someone remembers the little details, it surprises people. It's like we've accepted not caring enough as normal. Caring too much is something that is too much. Let's be real. There's a fine line between being attentive and making someone feel like you've got a file on them hidden in your basement. If you mention something they forgot, you've crossed into trouble. Why do you know that? People expect you to remember things. Not to be a detective. I understand. Sometimes you're just really paying attention. I once remembered a friend's favorite ice cream flavor from a random after months of talking. I surprised them with it. They didn't like it. They were almost scared. They knew I liked mint chocolate chip. They thought I had been plotting. Here's the trick. Remembering details is good. Don't use too many. You don't need to list someone's life story to show you care. Maybe just remember the important things. Like their birthday. Not the exact date they told you they got a parking ticket. Remembering details is about showing people that they matter to you. But here's the deeper point. Nobody likes to feel like they're being watched. People prefer to reveal themselves on their own terms and at their own pace. So, while you think you're being thoughtful by recalling every little detail, sometimes it's better to let things unfold naturally. Don't make them feel like you've got a mental dossier on their life. Give them the space to share when they feel like it. So, yeah. Remembering too many details might seem harmless. But if you go overboard, it can be like turning on a spotlight when people just wanted a candlelit chat. Keep the memory sharp. Dial down the detective work. Touching people too often. Now touching people too often. Oh boy. This one's loaded. Some people like physical touch. Others don't. Here's the kicker. Get this wrong. You're not just a friendly person anymore. You're the person who makes people cringe every time you tap them on the shoulder. Ever notice how some people turn every conversation into a touch-a-thon? A pat on the back. A hand on the arm. A playful nudge. Even a full on the topic of hugs. Everyone quickly becomes uncomfortable. No one says anything. Look. I understand. Some of us are naturally affectionate. Here's the truth, not everyone is comfortable with that. I'm all for a friendly handshake or high five. When you're always touching people, it's like wearing a sign that says, I ignore boundaries for fun. Let's be honest, too much touching can quickly become creepy. Like the uncle at a family reunion. And no one wants that. To be that guy. I remember once I had this colleague who was always super friendly. He had this habit of tapping people on the shoulder like every 5 minutes during conversations. At first, I thought, okay. Maybe he's just really animated. But by the 4th tap, I was thinking, dude. Is my shoulder a button you need to press for me to pay attention? It was like Pavlov's dog. For physical contact. Here's where it gets spicy. Some people will argue that touch is their love language. They'll say it's how they connect with others by building rapport. Which might work with your close friends or significant other. But newsflash, most people don't need to be touched every 30 seconds to know you care. In fact, it can make them feel the exact opposite. Like you're pushing past their boundaries for your own comfort. Look. We're not living in the Middle Ages. Where a friendly slap on the back sealed a deal. People today value their personal space more than ever. And if you're the type to put your hand on your knee while someone's telling you about their day, they're probably wondering if you're trying to connect or if you've just skipped the "Don't be weird" chapter in the social handbook. And trust me, I've learned the hard way. I used to be a bit too friendly with my gestures. Especially in group settings. I thought it made me seem more approachable. Then I had a friend straight up tell me, "You know, you don't have to touch my arm every time you laugh." And that was my wake-up call that I wasn't being more friendly, I was being rude without meaning to be. Here's a good rule to follow: if you're not close with someone, don't touch them. You're not a touchy person. A superhero who makes people feel awkward because they're not used to it. A friendly touch is fine. Doing it all the time will make them run away. On a deeper level, this is about more than just physical touch. It's about being aware of how others feel. What makes them comfortable and what makes them uncomfortable. At the end of the day, respecting someone's boundaries is important. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to show someone that you care about them is through words or actions. If you're the touchy type, remember that sometimes the most meaningful connection you can make with someone is by giving them space. Don't let your good intentions turn into a misunderstanding. Touch is powerful. Only when it's welcomed. Not forced. At the wrong time. Right. Let's talk about laughing at the wrong time. We've all been there. Someone says something serious. For some reason, your brain decides it would be hilarious to laugh. This makes others stare and think you're a psychopath. Some people are just wired this way. Nervous laughter. Inappropriate laughter is rude. No matter what you call it. It's not okay to laugh in the middle of someone's sad story about their dog running away. Don't even get me started on the times when people laugh at funerals. Yes. It happens. Let me tell you a story. I once burst out laughing during a serious conversation with a friend. She was telling me about her horrible day at work. My brain just short. I was amused by her story. Not laughing at her. I remembered something funny that had happened earlier that day. She thought I was laughing at her misery. She was not amused. I had to do some serious damage control to explain why I wasn't a heartless monster. Here's the thing. Some people say laughter is the best medicine. Sure. There's a time and a place for everything. Laughing during tense or sad moments can come across as dismissive. It can make others think it makes it seem like you don't care about someone's feelings, and here's the kicker: some people don't see this as an issue. They think that if they're laughing, it must be a good thing. No. Dude, sometimes it's a cue to read the room. But honestly, the issue goes deeper than just bad timing. It's about emotional intelligence. The lack of it, if you laugh at the wrong time, it can make others feel uncomfortable. It shows that you're not paying attention to their emotions. That can come off as creepy. Do you enjoy awkward situations? Are you comfortable with discomfort? Everyone else and everyone in the room is waiting for you to make a mistake. I've been in this situation before. I remember once I was talking about a hard time I was having. The person listening to me laughed. I wasn't sure if they were nervous or just not paying attention. It made me feel bad. It felt like a punch to the gut. In that moment, I realized how isolating it is when someone responds to your pain with misplaced humor. It's like, great. Now I feel misunderstood and embarrassed. So, what's the takeaway here? Laughter is great. We love laughing. For the love of social decency. If you feel like you're about to laugh at a serious moment, pause. You don't want to be someone who people avoid because they don't trust you to handle sensitive moments with empathy, but really, this is about being present and understanding the emotions of those around you. If you feel like you need to laugh, then you should listen. Laughter can lighten the mood. Timing is everything. If you can't control your impulse to laugh when it's clearly inappropriate, You're sending the message that you're disconnected from the moment. And trust me, that's a fast way to lose friends. It was a shock to the system. I understood how lonely it is when someone reacts to your pain with humor that isn't appropriate. It's like, what the heck? I feel misunderstood and embarrassed now. So, what's the lesson here? Laughter is great. We love laughing. But, the sake of social decency. If you feel like you're the odd one out in your social group, remember that you don't have to be the comic relief all the time. Sometimes, just being there quietly and fully is enough. So, next time you feel the urge to laugh when someone's sharing their heart, don't. Trust me. You'll thank yourself later. Staring without blinking, alright. Staring without blinking, this one gets weird real fast, and let's face it. We've all had that moment where we realize we've been staring at someone for way too long, but when you're on the receiving end, it's like being locked in a gaze with someone who's plotting your demise. At the very least studying your soul a bit too intensely. Imagine this, you're in a conversation. Maybe it's a casual chat. The person across from you is just staring. No blinking. No breaking eye contact. Just pure, unblinking laser. If someone is staring at you, you might think they're paying attention. After a few seconds, you might start to wonder if something bad is about to happen. It's like in horror movies when the villain stares intensely at the main character, making you feel like something bad is about to happen. Controversial part. Too much eye contact, especially without blinking, doesn't make you more attentive, it just makes you creepy. I remember this one time when I was at a meeting. This guy just kept staring. I swear he didn't blink once the whole time I was talking. At first, I thought, wow, I must be really interesting, but then I started thinking, is he secretly judging me? Is there something on my face? Why won't he just blink? It got to the point where I started blinking more, hoping he'd catch on and do it too. Spoiler alert, he didn't. That it was like a staring contest. I never agreed to it. It left me feeling uneasy. Now, there's this idea out there that maintaining eye contact shows confidence. Right. Yeah. That's true to a point. But here's where it gets tricky. Society has this weird obsession with alpha behavior. Part of that is the idea that if you think that looking someone in the eye makes you look dominant, think again. There's a fine line between confident eye contact and making someone feel like you're looking them up and down, like you're thinking about everything they've ever done. Let's break it down. Blinking is natural. If you're staring without blinking, you're not more focused. You're more disturbing. In fact, refusing to blink or break eye contact makes people feel like they're being studied under a microscope. And nobody wants to feel like they're the subject of a science experiment. You think you're coming across as engaged. You're really giving off the impression that you're not paying attention to them. If someone seems like a serial killer, you've been on both sides of this. I once got so caught up in a deep conversation with someone that I didn't realize I'd stopped blinking. They were telling this intense story. I was so focused on every word. Then, suddenly, they got all fidgety and kept. I felt shocked and embarrassed. I realized that it's not okay to laugh at someone's pain. It's rude and inappropriate. I looked away. I thought, wait. What's happening? It turns out that I was the one being creepy. They even asked, "Are you okay? You haven't blinked in a while." That's when I realized that I had turned into that guy. The one with the unsettling stare. Here's the deal. Eye contact is great in moderation. Nobody wants to be locked in a death stare. You're not trying to be in control, you're trying to make sure the other person moves away. Trust me. There's nothing that makes someone want to move away faster than feeling like you're watching them all the time. Let's look at this more closely. When you look someone in the eye, it's about connecting, not controlling them. It's about sharing a moment with someone, not making them feel like they're not trapped under your gaze. That I end real conversations. There's a natural flow of looking at each other, then looking away, giving the interaction some breathing room. If you're constantly staring, you're missing the point of human connection. People need space both physically and emotionally to feel comfortable and understood. So next time you catch yourself in an intense stare, remember that you're not controlling them. You're just connecting. If you're looking at someone you just met, take a break from looking. There's a natural flow of looking at each other and then looking away. This gives the interaction some breathing room. If you're constantly staring, you're missing the point of human connection. People need space both physically and emotionally to feel comfortable and understood. So, next time you catch yourself in an intense stare, give yourself permission to blink. Better yet, look away for a second. Trust me. You're not losing their attention. You're giving them a moment to breathe. Remember, eye contact isn't a competition. It's a way to connect, not to intimidate. Texting. Right after meeting someone. The classic, "nice to meet you," text. Ding. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. Then, before you've even had time to process the interaction, your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again. Or texting right after meeting someone. The classic, "nice to meet you," text. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. Then, before you've even had time to process the interaction, your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again or run the other direction. Look. I'm all for staying connected. Texting someone immediately after you've just parted ways is a bit extra. Like. Slow your roll. You literally just met them. Now you're already blowing up their phone. If that's not a one, texting right after meeting someone. The classic, "nice to meet you," text. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. Then, before you've even had time to process the interaction, your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again or wait. Ticket to Creepville. I don't know what is. Let's be real. Some people think this is just being friendly. Maybe even charming. Like. Look how eager I am to build this connection. Here's where I get controversial. It's not charming. It's needy. You barely know them. Now you've forced them into an awkward situation, where they have to decide whether to text back right away. Come off as too eager themselves. Texting after meeting someone. The classic, "nice to meet you," text. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. Then, before you've even had time to process the interaction, your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again. Or wait it out and look like they're playing hard to get. Either way, no one wins. It's not a conversation starter. It's a pressure cooker. Let me tell you about this time I made this mistake myself. I met someone at an event. We hit it off. Good vibes. Lots of laughs. All that. Then, thinking I was being super smooth, I texted them. Literally 5 minutes after we'd said goodbye. Something like, "Hey. Great chatting. Let's grab coffee sometime soon, yeah." That's really original. Their response, nothing. For days. I overthink. Did I come on too strong? Was it too soon? Should I have just waited? Answer, yes. 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 It took me a while to realize that texting right away sends the wrong message. It's like I've already decided we're going to be best friends or lifelong partners. Hope you're cool with that. When texting right after meeting someone. Ah. The classic, "nice to meet you" thing. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. And then, before you've even had time to process the interaction, your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? Because I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again. Really, the other person might still be in that getting to know you phase. Wondering if they even want to text you back at all. The truth is, people need space. They need space to reflect on the interaction. They need space to decide if they want to take things further. If they're just happy leaving it as a fleeting conversation. And here's the harsh truth, texting right after meeting someone can make you look desperate. I said it. It's texting right after meeting someone. Ah. The classic, "nice to meet you" text. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. Then, before you've even had time to process the interaction, your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again. Or, like you're so afraid of losing that initial connection that you're trying to cement it right away. Instead of coming off as confident. It feels more like you're seeking validation. We all know that desperation never looks good. You can be the coolest person in the room. One overly eager text can unravel all that mystery you built up in person. Trust me. I've been on the receiving end of this too. I once. Texting after meeting someone. Ah. The classic, "nice to meet you" text. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. And then, before you've even had time to process the interaction, your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? Because I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again. Or, a guy texted me before I even got to my car after we met at an event. I could literally see him across the parking lot while I got the message notification. It was like I was being watched in real time. My first thought wasn't, "Wow. This guy's really into me." It was more like, "Why is he so quick to get in touch? Is he going to follow me home too?" It felt so off. Needless to say, I didn't text back right away or at all. So, what's the best way to proceed? Take a breath. You don't have to decide if you like someone within 5 minutes of meeting them. I promise that if they really want to talk to you, waiting a few hours or even a day won't make them forget you. In fact, it'll probably make you seem more relaxed and confident. You'll come across as someone who's not in a rush to prove something or force a connection. On a deeper level, texting right after meeting someone. Ah. The classic, "nice to meet you" situation. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. Then, Before you've even had time to process the interaction. Your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again or. Level. This is about understanding pace in relationships. Whether it's a friendship or something more. Real connections take time to grow. Instant communication doesn't make relationships stronger. It can actually make them feel forced. People need time to process their feelings and thoughts about you. Rushing that with rapid-fire texts does nothing but undermine that natural flow. If you're constantly trying to fast, texting after meeting someone. The classic, nice to meet you, text. Here's a text already. There's nothing quite like meeting someone for the first time. Then. Before you've even had time to process the interaction. Your phone buzzes. Hey. Great meeting you. Oh. Is it great meeting me? I'm still figuring out if I want to hang out again or. Track things you might be sabotaging a potential connection before it even has a chance to form. So. Next time you meet someone new and you're tempted to send that, hey. Great meeting you, text 5 minutes after parting ways. Take a step back. Let the moment breathe. Give them and yourself some space. To see if the connection was real. Just a passing interest. Remember. Texting too soon doesn't make you seem more interested. It just makes you seem less patient. Trust me. Patience is way more attractive than desperation. 7. Lingering in conversations. Alright. Let's talk about the people. Take a step back. Let the moment pass. Give them and yourself some space to see if the connection was real or just a passing interest. Remember. Texting too soon doesn't make you seem more interested. It just makes you seem less patient. Patience is way more attractive than desperation. 7. Lingering in conversations. Alright. Let's talk about the people who just won't let a conversation end. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've said your goodbyes. You've dropped every hint. You've even started walking away. They just linger. They're holding on to every last shred of the conversation. Trying to extend it like it's their life source. And you're left thinking. Is there a polite way to escape without saying, look? We all love having a good conversation. There's a difference between having a meaningful chat and overstaying your welcome. I mean. Once the conversation has naturally run its course. The key word is naturally. But some folks act like they're at a concert. The headliners already played their encore. They're still chanting for one more song. It gets uncomfortable. Here's where it gets tricky. Society tells us it's important to stay engaged and make sure everyone feels heard. But sometimes. Lingering in a conversation doesn't make you more engaged. It just makes you annoying. Let's be honest, people don't always want to talk about random things. They have other places to be and things to do. If you keep talking, they might think you are needy or desperate for attention. I'll never forget this one time when I ran into an old acquaintance at a cafe. We did the usual catch-up. I realized that I had to stop talking. Hello. How are you? You know. The usual stuff. After about 10 minutes. I was ready to end the conversation and move on with my day. But this guy wouldn't stop talking. Every time I tried to end it, he'd ask another question or share another story. It got to the point where I was doing that awkward side shuffle move. Moving toward the door. He didn't notice. It was like he trapped me in a maze with no exit. It wasn't that. At first. I didn't like the conversation. As time went on. It felt more and more forced. Here's the thing, when you keep talking with someone after you've stopped enjoying it, it goes from being fun to feeling like a chore. It's like you're holding someone captive with your words. You might think you're connecting. Really, you're just testing their patience. Here's where I'll get serious. Some people stay in conversations because they're afraid of that silence that follows. They're afraid of what will happen if they don't fill the space with words. Maybe they think that the longer they talk, the more likable they will become. But actually, it works the opposite way. Less is more. No one has ever thought, wow, they just wouldn't stop talking. I like them even more now. I've definitely been guilty of this myself. I remember after a work event where I was networking. I was just so nervous. So I lingered in every conversation. I thought that if I kept talking, they would like me more or invite me to be friends. But that's not what happened. Instead, I could feel people zoning out, looking for a way to escape, while I kept trying to keep talking. I didn't realize that I was making it hard for people to connect with me. It's not that people don't enjoy a good conversation. It's that most of us value quality over quantity. If you talk just for the sake of it, the conversation becomes uninteresting. You're not adding anything new, you're just making it longer. It's like that guest at a party who won't leave. At first, you're happy they came. When they're still there 2 hours later, eating the last of the chips, you're ready to show them the door. On a deeper level, lingering in conversations reflects a fear of being forgotten or overlooked. It's the fear that if you don't talk to them, they might be forgotten. If you stop talking, people will move on from you. But here's the truth, the strongest connections aren't built on how much you talk, how well you communicate. People will remember a short, meaningful exchange more than an endless stream of words that goes nowhere. People will remember you not for how long you stuck around, for the impact you made while you were there. I've learned the hard way that it's better to leave a conversation while it's still. People are still interested. Now, I end my conversations sooner. They want more. There's power in knowing when to stop. It's like a great movie that ends on a high note. You walk away feeling fulfilled, not exhausted. So, here's the lesson. Don't be the conversational lingerer. Know when to wrap it up. It's not about cutting people off. Respecting the natural flow of communication. If you feel like you've made your point, if you've had a good back and forth conversation, trust that it's enough. You don't have to overstay your welcome to leave an impression. In fact, knowing when to step away might make you even more memorable. Alright. There you have it. Here are some bad habits that might make you seem creepy. Look. We all have our quirks. The key here is awareness. Sometimes the smallest things, like lingering in a conversation or texting too soon, can make you seem creepy. Even standing a little too close can make others see you as charming or not so much. Don't worry. We can all work on this. Nobody's perfect. Maybe you noticed some of these habits in yourself. That's okay. It's all part of being human, learning, growing, figuring out how to deal with the strange things that come our way. Social interaction, the most important thing to know is that it's all about balance. Connecting with others is like a dance. You have to know when to step forward and when to step back. When to engage and when to give space. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is simply be present, without overthinking every move. I've learned this through my own awkward moments. Trust me. I've had my fair share of awkward moments. It's not about being perfect. It's about being genuine. People appreciate authenticity more than someone who's trying too hard. So, the next time you're talking to someone or meeting someone new, just remember to relax. Breathe. Don't feel like you have to rush or force anything. The best connections happen naturally. Which habit do you relate to the most? Let me know in the comments. If you think someone you know might benefit from this list, go ahead and share it with them. Just maybe wait a few minutes before sending that text. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. I'll see you in the next video.